Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk about what I feel is probably one of the best audio interfaces on the market today for guitar players that are really tailored to what a guitar player might need in a home studio or mobile studio setup. And that is the IK Multimedia AXE IO. I've had this for maybe, I'd say 8 to 10 months. I don't really remember exactly when I got it, but I've been absolutely blown away by not only the build quality, but the sound quality and the features that the IK Multimedia folks have put into this. Now, people know me as very much a Line 6 Helix Podgo HX Stomp person, and I still am, and I always will be. But I think that what the AXE IO is amazing for is a system for somebody who's using Line 6 Helix native, let's say. You know, I love using my Helix as an audio interface, and it does almost everything I need, but there's some times when I'm doing video work or other situations where I need a separate external audio interface, or maybe even something more portable. You know, the HX Stomp does a wonderful job as an audio interface well, but there's some really interesting features that makes the AXE IO kind of my go-to if I have to grab and go or to use it for certain things in the studio. So what is it? Well, it's a USB audio interface that has 2 inputs and 5 outputs, okay? So the 2 inputs, there can be 2 mic preamps, 2 line inputs, or 2 instrument inputs. Really well thought out, everything you need if all you need are the 2 inputs. It has 5 outputs. There's 4 line outputs on the back of it. And there's also a headphone output, okay? So it gives you lots of connection possibilities. So the back panel is gonna have, as I mentioned, the 2 XLR inputs. It's going to have your 4 line outputs. It's going to have some external control foot switch connections so that you can control the AXE IO and the included Amplitude 4 software that does come with AXE IO. It also has MIDI input and output so that you can control it via MIDI as well. So really nice features. But on the front here, what we see, and you can see I apologize, I have a little bit of a tight squeeze today. I have my camera set up here shooting this. I hope I don't get in the way, and I hope you can see everything okay. But we have an instrument input with a little special section called Z-Tone, which we're going to talk about in a moment. We have a second input on the front. We also have this preset knob, which allows us to select presets on the Amplitude 4 software. So it integrates nicely, as it makes sense, since it's an IK Multimedia product. 48 volt phantom power. And this is really neat. We actually have a tuner on the front of this. So for any guitar players who want to be able to tune by using their audio interface, we can just turn that on and use that to tune up really quickly, and the tuner works quite nicely. We can also have that set in the included control panel software to either mute the signal or to keep it going, which is really great as well. We have this monitor fader control, which goes everything from total direct monitoring of what we're feeding into the AXE IO, and we can also blend that with our DAW signal if we want to direct monitor whatever we're playing with. But I usually keep this set all the way to DAW and use my input monitoring in Cubase, which is my, I just got actually Cubase Pro 11, really amazing stuff. And I use the monitor control turned on in that. One reason I can get away with that is because the AXE IO actually has an ability to have extremely low latency, so you do not get any delay between what you're playing and what you're hearing back. Obviously you need a computer that's powerful enough to be able to take advantage of that, but I've got probably the lowest latency that I've ever gotten out of any particular audio interface out of the AXE IO. It's one of my favorite features of that as well. We have a great headphone amp built in. I use Sennheiser HD600s a lot of times, and I have some new HD660s as well. It drives both beautifully. It sounds great. And we have our master control, which I have cranked up since I have it going into a Mackie Big Knob monitor controller, which I adjust the volume from. So this is cranked, but you could also just use this as your main master output. One other great feature we have is an amp out as well. The amp out would allow you, at the same time, let's say I'm playing into this and I'm recording with Helix native in Cubase, and I want to feed this amp out to maybe my Rev G20 amp and record it at the same time. I could do that by feeding that same direct guitar signal out of this amp out and into whatever other source I want it to go into. So really great stuff. Now it also includes this great AXE IO control panel software. And what we see up here is a picture of the hardware. It tells us that we're connected. It tells us what the status of our MIDI in and outs are. We can set our sample rate and our buffer size from here. And like I was saying, we can get very low latency. I'm set at a buffer size of 16 here. I can go down to 8 if my CPU and computer will handle it. We can choose our direct monitoring between stereo and mono. And here's our tuner settings. We can either have it set so that it mutes when we turn it on, or it can be set to normal, okay? What we have here, our audio input section, it's telling me that since I'm plugged into input 1 with my guitar, it is automatically sensing that's going to be an instrument level input, okay? And you'll see if I play here, we get our tones that we want. Now, for anybody who's wondering, I'm using my Line 6 Marketplace Interstate Z Ultimate preset with my brand new Vigier Expert Strat style guitar. Beautiful combo. I love this preset, especially with a Strat or a Tele. It sounds really beautiful. It sounds good with all guitars actually. But so we have the ability to also use the mic or the line inputs. We have 48-volt phantom power here, and we have a second input as well. Now, this is really interesting. When I was telling you about the amp output here, if I click this, what you'll notice now is whatever I play gets sent over to the end here, where I have a separate volume control for amp output. So that would send it to another amp, and we could adjust the level of what's going out to hit the amp harder or softer. We can mute that output, or we even have a ground lift control, which is really handy and works wonderfully. We have our audio output section here as well. We see when I'm playing. I get my signal going out outs 1 and 2, which is how I have it set up. I can control that if I want to turn it down from here. But I'm going to keep that at full, and then we could also mirror that to audio out 3 and 4. We could also use out 3 and 4 to do reamping as well. If we already had an existing dry guitar track, we could send it out through that output while our monitors were connected to 1 and 2. So really well thought out. We can mute any one of those. I love this software. There's a whole controller tab here as well, which shows us the assignments for the external controllers and whatnot. We're not doing that today. I'm just going to kind of leave it at this. Now, what's really interesting though, if we come back to our actual physical unit, is this Z-tone section, okay? We have a Z-tone knob. We have a passive active switch. The active is designed for if we're plugging in with the guitar with active pickups. I don't have any guitars with active pickups. I don't have that today here plugged in, so I'm gonna leave that on passive. But according to the folks at IK Multimedia, it bypasses any unnecessary gain stages and allows the active pickups to kind of do the heavy lifting since they're already higher output, right? We also have this setting, JFET and Pure. So on Pure, what we're seeing here is just a very clean, pure signal, unaffected by anything as it's coming out of our guitar. Okay. If I switch that to JFET, the folks at IK Multimedia say it's more almost like running it through some tubes, right? It gives a little bit of a mid push to it, maybe it gives it a bit of a creamier sound, let's say. It's gonna be subtle stuff. More brilliance on the Pure setting, a little more mid push when we're set to the JFET, but very nice feature to have because it's so nice if we have a preset set up, we're in the middle of recording and we want to try some, we can just flick a switch, turn a knob and get some different tones out of it. Really nice stuff. Let's go back to Pure on that. Now, the Z-tone knob is very interesting. What the Z-tone knob is an impedance control. So we can really dramatically change the tone just by rotating this Z-tone. So at the setting all the way over here on sharp, it's a 1 mega ohm impedance setting, and we can dim or control that all the way over to the bold setting, which is going to be a 2.2 kilo ohm impedance setting. So you might say, well, what difference is that going to make to the tone? Well, here we are on the full sharp setting. Let's roll that over to the full bold setting. So really we lose a lot of the clarity and brilliance of the tone and kind of almost muddies it up a bit. But the nice thing is we don't have to go that dramatic. We can come back all the way over to the far left setting. Now let's go halfway and see what that does. So big difference if we go back. Maybe we go right around there, we switch this to J-Fat. So really a lot of tonal possibilities by just using the Z-Tone, J-Fat, and Pure switch. Really nice feature to have. Let's see how this works out for some overdrive settings. We'll start over on Z-Tone all the way over to sharp and on Pure. All right, let's go to the J-Fat setting. Again, that little bit of a mid push on it. We'll go back to Pure now. Let's take our Z-Tone about halfway from this. Maybe go halfway with the J-Fat. So nice stuff. We go back to Pure and all the way to the sharp setting. So really nice stuff. So a lot of possibilities out of the AXE IO that we can dial our tone in very quickly while we're just sitting at our workstation recording. We can really tweak in a very quick, easy way to get some different tones and have the AXE IO interact differently with our guitars. So this is definitely one of my favorite audio interfaces out there. I believe these sell for $349 US street price. You can order them through the IK Multimedia website. An amazing price for what you're getting. I truly, truly believe it's one of the finest audio interfaces out there. And it competes with audio interfaces or even beats audio interfaces that cost much, much more. So I'm really impressed with it, and hats off to the folks at IK Multimedia for a great product. They also make the AXE IO Solo, I believe is it's called, which has just, I believe, less outputs, but you can go check out their site for that. Maybe just one microphone preamp and it's a little bit less money. So if you wanted something even smaller that with the same options and possibilities, you could check that out as well. So anyways, I just thought I'd let you guys know what a great device to match up with something like Helix Native. I'm really digging it, and I use it a lot in a lot of different circumstances when I don't have my Helix at my disposal. So I hope that was useful to some of you folks and you enjoyed it. Go give my friends over at IK Multimedia a look and maybe pick yourself up an AXE IO. And I don't think you'll be disappointed. If that's the type of product that you're looking for right now, this is a really great way to go. So thanks again, guys. Please like the video and share it with anybody who you think will get some use out of it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the little bell notification to get notified when I put new content out. I will be back real soon with some more content. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Ciao for now.